y'all, my name is Jory and I'm the Black medical anthropologist. Recently, foraging has been made popular by influencers such as the Black forager. However, foraging has been a way of life throughout history and has many ties to Blackness. In this video, I'll be discussing how my experience with foraging has helped me feel connected to my ancestors. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. After going back to school for my last stint of clinical rotations, I felt burned out. When I returned home, part of my self-care was going on foraging walks. On my first walk home, I came across a plant called self-heal. I felt moved to discover more medicinal plants, but I wanted to do so through a Black lens. Black history is often erased or altered, which made finding information about medicinal plants used by enslaved people hard, but not impossible. I ordered the book Working the Roots by Michelle E. Lee and became privy to the wide realm of herbs my ancestors used. I was excited to find a lot of herbs locally while foraging. Medicine like pine needles for congestion and elderberry for overall immunity were easily accessible on my walks. I felt more connected to my Blackness in nature and was eager to learn more. My interest peaked when Working the Roots mentioned hoodoo as a practice used to heal the mind, body, and spirit of enslaved African Americans. As I've mentioned in previous videos, integrative medicine is a passion of mine, and I had never considered hoodoo to be interpreted as such. After more research, I concluded that we are in a resurgence of hoodoo and that incorporating its practices into medical care could help increase equity when treating Black American patients. So what is hoodoo? Hoodoo is often thought to be witchcraft or devil's work. However, it's a lot more complex than its reputation. According to Ralph Kuna, hoodoo is the indigenous medicine and psychiatry of Black Americans. Katrina Hazzard-Donald also defines it as the indigenous herbal, healing, and supernatural controlling spiritual folk tradition of the African American in the United States. Whether hoodoo is a religion is heavily debated, so for the purpose of this video, I'll refer to it as a spiritual cultural practice. Hoodoo was created by combining different religions of enslaved Africans, primarily from Central and West Africa, during the transatlantic slave trade. Hoodoo's development was an attempt to preserve their cultural, religious, and medicinal practices. It was a concoction of combined traditions that was also influenced by the local environment. Indigenous people contributed information about local herbal medicine, their traditions, and culture. Europeans contributed information about Christianity and folklore. This cultural collab created a practice based on herbal medicine, conjuring ancestral spirits, and the mind-body-spirit connection that varied by region and time. Amulets and spells were used for protection against violence from slave masters. Herbal medicine was used to remedy physical and spiritual ailments. During enslavement, medicine conjurers had gained so much popularity that white Americans were visiting Black conjurers for their ailments too. Eventually, conjuring was made illegal due to revolts and slave owner threats to hoodoo were common, like the practice of midwifery being outlawed. White Americans did not have access to gate-kept knowledge about herbal medicine, so they were not able to profit off of Black healers. When it became less safe to practice hoodoo, and when slaves were freed during the emancipation, the practice decreased in popularity, but continued evolving. During urbanization, crystals were commercialized and made more accessible due to capitalism. Black soldiers in World War II were known to wear mojo bags for protection. Even when Black Americans don't identify with practicing hoodoo, its influence is still present in our culture. Traditions have been incorporated into Protestant Christianity, the religion most practiced by Black Americans today. The New Year's meal, superstitions, and catching the Holy Spirit are all remnants of hoodoo. Along with hoodoo being omnipresent in our culture, it also has the tendency to re-emerge during times of adversity. It was necessary for our survival through slavery, then re-emerged during the Reconstruction era, and again after World War II. So, if it typically re-emerges during times of hardship, why wouldn't it then re-emerge during, say, an unprecedented pandemic where Black people are disproportionately affected? A lot of people have turned to religion and spirituality to ease their anxieties around uncertainty. In the past 3 years, I've seen more content around astrology, magic, and traditional African religions. Black-owned businesses selling crystals, herbal teas, and smudging tools have popped up left and right. Though some would call this New Age religion, I cannot ignore the resemblance to hoodoo. Most of us have a lack of access to original hoodoo knowledge, so we are making do with what we have, as we have through all of history. Black people are knowing and unknowingly relying on the same tools of resilience that our ancestors did during enslavement. We are utilizing more herbal remedies as mistrust in the medical system rises during times of uncertainty. we are praying to and consulting ancestors, and to combat Black maternal mortality, we're returning to midwifery. Since having this revelation, I've tried to incorporate more Hoodoo practices into my life. Cleansing my home with sage, foraging herbal medicine, and praying more have lowered my anxiety. In addition, these habits have helped me feel more connected to my heritage. Utilizing these integrative practices alongside traditional talk therapy have aided immensely in healing my trauma. I cannot be alone in this experience, and if that is the case, medicine must put these practices into consideration when caring for Black American patients, as it has aided in our resilience through many hardships. I would like the medical community to promote equity by prescribing Black patients spiritual practices as integrative care. We must take cultural competency a step further and invest in studying how incorporating culture-specific religion and spirituality affects health outcomes. We could use that evidence to create more equity, trust, and connectedness between the Black and medical community. As many Black people and I reap the benefits of spirituality, I hope medicine sees the value in our practices just as much as we do. Thank you for watching. Prior to this video, what did you know about Hoodoo? Do you think treating spiritual ailments is just as important as treating physical illness? Leave a comment below. See you next video. Bye.